London in the 1600s was a city of ambition, trade, and transformation. By the early 17th century, it was home to roughly 200,000 residents, making it one of the largest cities in Europe. Narrow streets, crowded markets, and the steady rhythm of the River Thames shaped daily life. This view shows a city bustling with merchants, craftsmen, sailors, and laborers. Smoke from chimneys mingles with the scent of the river, and the clatter of carts and shouts of street vendors fill the air. In this video, I use modern AI tools to bring historic paintings, engravings, and prints to life, allowing us to shift perspective, change camera angles, and move through the same scenes in ways their original artists never could. We are not just looking at images, we are stepping inside them. First, I want to talk about the heart of London, the River Thames and its harbour. This is the Thames Harbor. This view shows the Thames in the early 1600s, stretching from London Bridge to the docks beyond. Wooden wharves line the riverbanks, and ships from the Netherlands, Spain, and the Mediterranean are moored side by side. In the foreground, small boats ferry barrels of sugar, wine, and spices to shore, while sailors and dock workers unload cargo in a carefully orchestrated chaos. The river smells of salt, tar, and wet wood. Merchants call out over the noise, coordinating the unloading of goods. Fires occasionally break out near the warehouses, and accidents were common as crews balanced precariously on slippery planks. The harbour mattered because it connected London to global trade, fueling its rise as an economic powerhouse. By the late 1600s, the docks had expanded with the construction of new quays along the river, many of which are still visible today in historic maps and restored waterfronts. This is London Bridge. This view shows the old London Bridge, completed in 1209 but rebuilt and modified several times, standing proudly over the Thames. By the 1600s, the bridge was lined with shops and houses, their timbered facades leaning over the water. Crowds of pedestrians jostle along narrow planks, while carts roll slowly across the uneven surface. The smell of smoke and refuse mingles with the river air. Fires and structural collapses were a constant threat, making the bridge both a vital artery and a dangerous crossing. London Bridge mattered because it connected the commercial heart of the city to the South Bank, a crucial route for trade and travel. Later, many of these shops were removed, and the bridge itself underwent significant rebuilding in the 18th century, though its legacy remains etched in London's cityscape. This is Cheapside Market. This view shows Cheapside, one of London's busiest market streets, around midday. Merchants display fresh bread, vegetables, and meat, while farmers bring produce from the surrounding countryside. Children run errands, dodging between carts and livestock. The street smells of smoke from nearby bakeries and the tang of fresh fish. Crowds push and shout as buyers haggle for the best prices. Crime was a concern. Pickpockets and street gangs prowled the narrow lanes. Cheapside mattered because it was the center of commerce, shaping London's economy and social life. By the late 17th century, parts of the street were widened and regulated to manage congestion, yet Cheapside remains a central artery in modern London. This is St. Paul's Cathedral. This view shows Old St. Paul's Cathedral before its destruction in the Great Fire of 1666. The towering spire dominates the skyline, visible from miles across the city. In the foreground, citizens pass through the churchyard, children playing among worn gravestones, and clergy moving purposefully along cobblestone paths. The bells mark the passage of time, calling worshippers and enforcing daily routines. Fires in the surrounding timber buildings constantly threaten the structure, while occasional outbreaks of plague swept through nearby streets. St. Paul's mattered as both a religious and civic centre, a symbol of London's identity. After the Great Fire, the cathedral was rebuilt under Sir Christopher Wren, rising again as the masterpiece we recognise today. This is Fleet Street. This view shows Fleet Street in the mid-1600s, lined with printers' workshops and taverns. Ink stains the hands of apprentices as they labour over newly printed pamphlets, while clients negotiate for news and announcements. The street smells of wet paper, smoke, and ale. Pickpockets and raucous patrons add tension, and occasional fires threaten the timber buildings. Fleet Street mattered because it was the centre of communication, printing, and gossip, shaping public opinion and culture. Over time, buildings were replaced with brick and stone, but the street's association with newspapers persists to this day. This is Smithfield Market. This view shows Smithfield Market, a centre for livestock trade. By the 1600s, cattle, sheep, and pigs crowd the pens, with butchers and farmers negotiating loudly. Animals are herded along muddy streets, their hooves splashing in puddles. The air is pungent with the scent of animals and hay, and shouts echo as buyers and sellers bargain fiercely. Disease occasionally spread among livestock, and stampedes were a real danger. Smithfield mattered because it fed the city, sustaining London's growing population. In the 19th century, the market was relocated and modernized, but its historic footprint remains part of the city's identity. This is the Tower of London. This view shows the Tower of London, standing solid on the banks of the Thames. By the early 1600s, it serves as both fortress and royal prison. Soldiers patrol the walls while prisoners, including political dissidents and debtors, wait in the dungeons. Crowds gather outside to witness executions or see new arrivals. The sound of clanking chains and the murmur of the guard punctuate the air. Threats of attack or rebellion were ever present, and the tower symbolized the authority of the monarchy. Today, visitors can explore the tower and its storied history, walking where kings, queens, and prisoners once stood. This is Whitehall Palace. This view shows Whitehall Palace, the residence of English monarchs. By the mid-1600s, it is a sprawling complex of grand halls, gardens, and courtyards. Servants carry messages and provisions, while courtiers move gracefully along the corridors. Political tension is constant, with factions maneuvering for influence under King Charles V and later Oliver Cromwell. Whitehall mattered as the seat of power and government. Fires in 1698 destroyed much of the palace, and today only remnants remain near Westminster, yet its importance shaped the city for centuries. This is the Globe Theatre. This view shows the Globe Theatre on the south bank of the Thames, buzzing with activity. By the early 1600s, audiences gather to watch plays by Shakespeare and other dramatists. Crowds of men, women, and children jostle in the yard, while actors perform on the open stage above. The smell of burning wood and spilled ale mingles with excitement. Disorderly behavior, pickpockets, and occasional riots add tension to performances. The Globe mattered as a center of culture and entertainment. After burning down in 1613 and being rebuilt, it continues to inspire theatre today, with a faithful reconstruction in modern London. This is Pudding Lane. This view shows Pudding Lane, the site where the Great Fire of London began in 1666. By the morning of September 2nd, flames spread rapidly along timbered buildings. Citizens shout and scramble to save possessions, and firefighting efforts are chaotic. The smoke and heat create a sense of urgency and fear. The fire destroyed large sections of the city, but it mattered because it prompted rebuilding with brick and stone, reshaping London's streets for centuries to come. Today, a small plaque marks the site, reminding visitors of the fire's lasting impact. This is the city gates and walls. This view shows the remnants of London city walls and gates by the 1600s, standing as reminders of medieval defense. Guards patrol the entrances while travelers and traders pass through. The streets outside bustle with carts and animals, carrying goods to markets and docks. Tension exists in the form of pickpockets, disease, and crowding. The walls mattered because they defined the limits of the city and shaped its growth. Most of the walls were later removed as London expanded, but some foundations remain visible in modern streets. Looking at these AI reconstructions, the past feels unexpectedly close. The streets, the people, their routines, and fears no longer seem distant. We can imagine the clatter of carts, the shouts of merchants, and the smoke rising from chimneys as if we were there. If there's another city, moment, or scene you'd like me to explore in this way, let me know in the comments. Again, thank you so much.